So from what I've learned that acetone is the magic trick. This frame was all covered in this black overspray right here. You can see how it's been coming off. I tried some paint thinner. That didn't quite work. It did okay, it just didn't do great. I actually sprayed a little bit of starting fluid on a cloth and I rubbed that in and it worked wonders. So I was like, I wonder how acetone will work. So I think what our plan is to get all the spray paint off. You can see all on the forks and everything, how covered that is. Even the radiator shroud that was originally this color as well too. And as well as the rear swing arm was spray painted as well as all these. So there's a ton of stuff on here that needs to be paint removed. Also, our other focus is getting the wheels off to get them ready to be powder coated. All of that in today's episode of Parsons Productions. Rear wheel off. Rear swing arm off. Well, it is an absolutely greasy mess out here, but now the rear wheel and the front wheel are fully prepped for powder coating. I'm gonna take them to the tire shop tomorrow morning, take the wheels off and the valve stems, and they should be good to go. Super, super stoked. The powder coating shop says they're gonna take about 2 weeks to finish. I was going to do the rear swing arm. However, there is a bearing in here on this side right here that I do not have the tools to take care of. I was able to get a lot of the bearings out with the wheels and the other side of the swing arm. It's a different style of bearing that is just absolutely impossible to get out. And then the other thing I was noticing is this swing arm is actually really beat up. Like there's a lot of dings and dents in it. I think it's just gonna be painted. I think it would be great to powder coat it. However, there's just so many little dents in it that it's just gonna look really bad once it's all painted. The bike is suspended in air. I've done a lot of work today. As you can see, it's starting to get dark out now. Getting everything pulled off. Got a lot of the work done with all the paint removal of the overspray and the terrible rattle can job. Some areas are not the best, haven't come off yet, but I can still tackle those. As far as the other side, it's getting there. Just gotta keep working on it. And I did find that there is a hole in the taillight. Don't know why there's a hole there. That is obviously not a broken hole. That is a pre-drilled hole. Someone did that. And I don't know why. That is more just crackhead activity. So I think that's it for today. I will continue work in the morning. Okay, it's a new day and did a little test spot here in the forks because cleaning this one up of all the overspray and the ridiculous amounts of grease on this bike. I have removed so much grease. I can't even tell you how much grease is on here. I did a quick test spot on here because all the paint was chipping off. Actually, I did pretty well. This is a thick wire wheel on a grinder, and that is why safety glasses, because that throws little In order to keep this project going in a smooth-like fashion, I decided to make a list and keep myself in check, just so this thing doesn't get all sideways and take an eternity, just like the Suzuki did. It is everything that I plan to install. I'd like to walk through the list and talk about each item. So first thing on the list is chain and sprocket. They're not necessarily in an order of which they need to be installed. There's parts that I have that need to be installed. Chain and sprocket. I have a new triple tree and top hats because the old one is super crusty. Ignition, you saw the ignition earlier. It's a circuit breaker. That is not the OEM ignition. We have a new fuel cap, fuel shutoff valve, front and rear brakes. I have a new exhaust, LED gauge lights, LED tail lights, new headlight housing, new fairings, blinkers, brake and clutch levers, fuel pump and the relay, a tail tidy. Last but not least, we have fresh wheels and tires. I did notice that when I took the wheels to the tire shop to get them taken apart, that the rear wheel is not the proper OEM wheel.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no.
It is off a Honda CBR F4. And I have an F3. My buddy down at the shop told me I really should probably get the correct wheel, so I ordered that and it is on the way and it'll be here soon. Once it is here, we will go get them powder coated. I need to get fresh tires for it as well too. That is not here yet, but once I get the wheels coated, I will go ahead and get those fitted with tires. Forks, I am currently painting those while they're drying. We're talking about this at the moment. The swing arm. The swing arm has been the bane of my existence for a while now. It is very crusty. It is a little bent, little tweaked, so I'm concerned about getting it powder coated. However, it is insanely dented and tweaked a little bit, but all the ones online that are used are pretty much the exact same thing. So I think I'm gonna roll with what I got and clean it up the best I can and see where we are. And new seat, which I do have. Over here on the need list, I didn't buy a headlight, the actual bulb itself. So I need to get a super bright LED one, and then well as front and rear tires, which we already talked about. April 30th. We are keeping this project on a tight deadline. These videos may come out a little later than April 30th, but I can't edit that fast. So I am keeping myself on a strict deadline. I do not bring my watch. I believe today is March 31st to April 30th. That is almost an exact month. So we kind of have a bit of a time crunch here. I think it's very doable. If you look over here, the bike is fully stripped down, missing the forks, missing the rear swing arm, missing a ton of stuff. However, everything that I need is on this table, in boxes, and in that gigantic box. I think a few things we can cross off the list today are really easy, such as the LED lights for the gauge cluster, as well as the tail lights, and a few little other odds and ends. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Let's go ahead and start with something easy, such as, I don't know, LED taillights. That is super simple. These right here are, I believe, the strobe LEDs, so they flash a bunch of times. I believe 5 or 7 times. They'll go when you step on the brake. There's 2 of them, and they are CTB013, in case anyone's curious. We'll go right here, just unscrew these and pop them in. All right, cool. We can finally cross something off the list. LED taillight, cross that out. Next, another easy thing, LED gauge lights. Go ahead and get that done. Well, this is unfortunate, but these lights are the lights I ordered, and these are far too big. You can see the size difference between these two. The OEM one, the LED. So I'm gonna have to order some different ones. So can't do that one quite yet. Well, something else I can tackle while I'm waiting for the new gauge cluster lights is the fuel pump and relay. This is the fuel pump. From my research, this is the rope and the zip tie combination that holds the fuel pump on. This fuel pump does not come on with the ignition, which is interesting because majority of motorcycles come on with the ignition. A little concerned about that. I do have a new relay for it too. It doesn't necessarily need the relay because I'm pretty sure it works because I've ridden this motorcycle before, but I'll go ahead and replace it anyway, and if it has troubles later down the road, I will throw the old relay back in and won't throw it away. One fuel pump out, clean this area up, and then we'll install the new one. Okay, so here is the new fuel pump, and here is the old fuel pump. They are just about identical. Fuel pump is now installed. Okay, here is the new fuel pump relay. Here is the old one. I don't really think this is bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and install it anyway. If it gives us problems down the road, we'll go ahead and swap it out. Out with the old and in with the new. Well, fuel pump and relay are taken care of. While we're on the subject of fuel, I do have the fuel shutoff valve and the cap. All right, so here is the fuel tank. You can see I was rubbing it with a little bit of acetone, and this cool blue color emerged below the terrible black spray paints. I was looking online and I couldn't quite find any exact matches of what this bike's paint scheme was, but I'm wondering if this is custom. I don't quite know, but you can see the Honda logo in there. It looks really cool, and I'm kind of sad that I got it covered up, but I do have an awesome tank cover for this that'll make it look 1,000 times better. So parts that I need to replace on this, I have the fuel cap, because you can see this one has been drilled out, which is nice. And that's actually one of the very first parts I purchased, as well as this fuel shutoff valve. This fuel shutoff valve is coated in, I think that's JB Weld, I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and get that off and we'll take care of it. Nice. Now I am going to clean up this area around it just because I want this area clean when I go to install the tank cover. This area is now clean. In this box, I have a brand new fuel cap with this key that I put in, and I'm not able to get out because it locks in there, and I've been fighting to get this key out forever. And then this key also came with a brand new matching ignition too, which is super awesome because the key's gonna match and it's gonna look great. Okay, so these screws clearly aren't long enough. However, the gas cap does work. I can close it down and it fits nicely. I'm gonna have to get some different hardware, but gas cap is fully secure now with an operable key. And to top it all off, I even got this cool keychain to match. I'll Honda it out. Okay, with the tank now flipped over, I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this old fuel shutoff valve. I don't quite know what homeboy was thinking with all this stuff on here. Like, who thought that would work? And I don't know which way means what. There's an arrow on it. I don't know which way is off or reserve or what. Anyway, our new fuel shutoff valve looks just like this, and it's really nice. The main, I believe, and then this is reserve. And it even comes with a nice new knob. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up these threads, and then we'll get this new one on. Okay, fuel shutoff valve is now in. To tell you the truth, I have no idea which way is which, but it feels nice and clicky, which I like. And there's a new petcock in there as well too. All right, well that's two more things off the list. That's the fuel shutoff valve as well as the fuel cap. Not necessarily sure what I want to go ahead and tackle next. I'm still waiting on the wheel to show up so I can get those off to powder coat. So I think what's going to be next is the swing arm. I need to repaint that. I need to prep it first and then repaint it and then get that on, followed by the forks. And then I can go ahead and start doing all the electrical stuff like the ignition, the lights, and the blinkers and stuff like that. And once that's done, we're on to getting the fairings on, which I am so stoked for. It's gonna look so good. I cannot wait. That is gonna be all for today's episode of Parsons Productions. I can't wait for episode 3, and I can't wait for this thing to finally hit the road. Until then, I appreciate y'all watching.